Hi, this is Fabian speaking, and today we will talk a little bit about linguistic policies in our country, in Colombia, in this beautiful field of the education. So just enjoy the video. Thank you. So after the Second World War, Colombia was one of the countries that starts applying in their own governments globalization policies. In this case, in order to just accomplish what the international standards wants, and in order, of course, to develop their population in terms of globalization starts when Colombia started developing the globalization strategies in order just to be competitive with the rest of the world, and of course, in order to be like a kind of aligned with the developed countries at the time, the United States, Canada, etc. Right? So Colombia basically starts applying those strategies, and English, of course, is part of that globalization process. So having this in mind, I think it's very important to start like mentioning what are those kind of specific plans or programs that our country develops since the very beginning that they start implementing English in our curriculums. And the first one, of course, is a syllabus English program, or basically there was a strategy between the British Council and our Colombian Ministry of Education in the 1982. At that time was good, was really focused on secondary schools. Then we got the COFE program. It's kind of hard to say. That was implemented in the 1991. Also, of course, this was an agreement between British Council and the Colombian government in general. Of course, it was related to the Colombian Ministry of Education, but it was like really the government, because of course this will have like possible implications for the future, and this is something that can help our country in terms of development, of course. So basically, the main goal was to improve teaching English at the secondary schools, and they start implementing some strategies, and also they use a lot of resources since some resource centers they start implementing like kind of a training for teachers. They get involved also universities in this part, so it was really nice and really good for the education at the time. And of course, this was like the beginning point for our English in also for the curriculums. In the 1994, now of course, we got our General Law of Education, and well, as you know, at that time was like not a requirement to teach in a specific language. The schools can choose whatever language they want, but of course, many of the schools start teaching English, uh, teaching English because English was seen like the future, and is the future right now. So after this, we got the National Plan of Bilingualism. That was also some of the agreements that we have with the British Council and with some also other private organizations. We start implementing the Common European Framework of Reference, and we start doing some others programs in the future, such as the development of competencies, the law of bilingualisms, the national plan called in Colombia Very Well, the bilingual Colombian program, etc. And of course, those are like laws or programs, language policies that we're having in our country. And I will say it, or I will give my point of view first as teacher. So I believe that in Colombia we need to still apply more curricular changes since well we are in a good way right now. That's a good point. We need to have more like real curriculum integration with our daily context. Okay, why? Because we're the only ones. The teachers are the only ones who can know how to manage those things and how to apply or integrate our daily context to real curriculum changes. Okay. In terms of language, this was one of the best decisions that take the government, of course. Why? Because they shut to the point, um, they plan just in the future to be part of this globalized world, and now we're doing that. English is something that can open doors and provides more accessibility for specific things in life, so such as professional development, of course. So I believe this was good. As teacher, we have more resources now than before. um, this new generation of teachers will be better in terms of communicative competence development, because we know the language, or well, at least we're trying to learn the language, and that's something that is really good and that we don't have in the past years, right? So I believe now with that resource availability, accessibility, with that professional development, with the continuous training that we're receiving, um, with those standards that we're applying, we're doing an excellent job. We can of course do it better, but we can improve. But that will depend on the years, because we need to continue working on that. Then, secondly, as a student, I believe that this, of course, increased exposure to the language, because we are developing communicative competence, and through standardizing standardized things, as an example, the assessment process, or the test process, better. There are the ICFES and the Cyber Pro. Those things allow us to just know our level, English level, um, comparing that to the other um, developed countries, right? So this is really good, because in this way we can just have kind of same opportunities, kind of same exposure to the language. Of course, it's not the same when Spanish is your mother tongue, right? And that when you need to learn that in a context that basically all the times all people is using Spanish as first language, of course, and it's really hard, right? Because maybe other globalized countries are using English as first language. So as a student, I can see that this works, because now we're getting the level that the government expects. We need to improve, of course, a lot, but as I mentioned before, we are in a good way. Okay. And how we can see though that a specific implementation maybe in our schools and in our context in the universities. Well, first of all, of course, I can see that is that this implementation is being taken on a good way, because we are having more materials, we are having more access or direct access to the language through different platforms. We have now other ways to explore language. So yeah, for sure, I'm agree. This is being implemented in many schools, and this is something that is good. The only thing that I don't like too much is maybe, as I said to you, teacher, before, the way that they are expending money in order to apply this kind of things, this kind of plans. When I say when they are spending, I'm referring to the government, of course. But I'm so sure that they do that on this way because they know that this only can be possible if some external people come here and teach us how to do it, right? So, right, I think this will be all. And I really enjoyed the course. I really enjoyed the text, the readings. I really enjoyed the activities. Uh, Thank you so much, and see you later.